Okay. Now I have shared this link with all the audience members, and we have all arrived here. My apologies for low quality. I'm still something of a beginner at this streaming thing. So I have news for you. Every few years, at the latest, I go through the field of research in question, and I vary between the different fields of research so that this time I studied biofuels. And I have, up until fairly recently, been studying fusion and space technology. So you may notice a distinct change in the tone of this. Now, I have discovered that 3 years ago, when I kind of last did this, third generation biofuels, or the turning of algae paste into petroleum, was considered something that might be doable in 2060. If you watch this channel, you will notice that in the Fate of the World game, which is supposed to be the super realistic environmental simulator, even though it's not, it has a lot of errors, but that's what it's supposed to be, said that third generation biofuels are market competitive at around 2060. Now, as I saw this, third generation biofuels were along the lines of fusion, in that one day they will be available, and if they ever are, they will most likely solve our environmental problems because of how they work. A third generation biofuel, algae fuel, uses only water, sunlight, and carbon dioxide to produce algae, copies of itself. Now, this algae, once it fills the container tank, will be scooped out and turned into fuel. So, this 3 years ago, the cost of 1 gallon of algae fuel was estimated to be $750, meaning that it is in no way competitive. Some niche application somewhere might be interested in it, but it is in no way competitive. Today, it is around 7 to 4.5 dollars per gallon. That is within 3 to 5 years of research. That is because it is a brand new field. There is very little public research into it prior to this. And the research that has been done prior to this 3 year period has been mostly backyard research, very slow, very low tech research. So this seems that if this trend continues, as it seems likely that it will, we will see the reduction of carbon consuming petroleum that reduces carbon in the atmosphere, to be cost effective in competition with normal petroleum. Meaning that if you want to make money and you have two options, either start a new oil well or start a carbon reduction scheme using biofuels, you will make more money from the biofuel option. This means that once this technology matures, which according to the averaged out predictions that I saw, should be between 2025 and 2035, we will finally have, for the first time in our civilization's history, the ability to turn carbon in the air without adding nutrients with just water. You can have seawater, different kind of bacteria or algae. You can have fresh water, or you can have municipal wastewater, and all have the same output because they use a different type of algae. So technically, you only need water of any source, sunlight, and carbon dioxide. we will, for the first time in our civilization's history, have the ability to turn carbon into energy while making money from it. And this will allow you to make more money out of it than by digging for oil. Now, if you're not living in a closet for the past 300 years, you will know that our planet has something of a problem with carbon in the air. That's because we've been using a lot of carbon to generate our society. Carbon polishes the part you focus on, but dims all other parts because it increases the blackness of the atmosphere. And I don't mean the race, I mean the mood. So this means that for the first time in this planet's history ever, we can turn carbon in the air without using nutrients in the soil or adding nutrients to the soil to pure petroleum. And this means that the age of oil, as seen as something you do by punching a hole in the ground and taking the black ooze that comes out, will be over. So that will be the date of peak oil. Not because oil ran out, because it's not going to run out. These carbohydrates are not going to run out. I can guarantee you it's not going to run out. This planet has had life for such a long time that basic carbohydrates are never going to run out. We can talk about them running out in the year 3000. But it will be more energy efficient to build 1,000 swimming pool sized containers of water with a faucet of carbon dioxide at the bottom and algae in them than it will be to make a drilling site in the middle of the ocean with pipes that are kilometers long to the ocean floor. So that will be the thing. Peak oil, not because oil ran out, but because making biofuel oils without subsidies, we're not counting subsidies into this, we're just counting the raw manufacturing cost. The cost of biofuels will be cheaper than the cost of oil, which means the age of oil will be over. Do you understand me? If that happens, US imperialism, which means that their demand for energy resources will be over. They can make as many carbon to biofuel facilities as they want. And we, the rest of us, the guys that aren't as developed as the US, will supply them by burning coal. And the balance of CO2 in the atmosphere will remain the same because one end consumes and one end provides. So there will be no up and there will be no down. We have done this thing many times before. We have taken something that in our living environment is automatic, controlled by the planet, such as interior heating, the purity of our water, the purity of our food, etc. And we have taken them to be manual. We control the heat of our apartment. We control the purity of our water. Now we are talking about transforming carbon dioxide from something that is automatic, the planet adjusts it on its own, to something that is manual, that is controlled by us. If that happens, I cannot explain to you in terms that language will allow how much will change. We will change as much by minimum as changed during the Industrial Revolution. We will change our society as much as it was changed when we first went from huts or caves to air-conditioned Roman-style villas. That is how much the change will be. This, I have used my meager resources, such as they are, to try now to boost this speed so that we would get this thing sooner. And I don't know if they'll help, but we'll see. If nothing helps this field and nothing hinders this field, we will get carbon dioxide from air into petroleum cheaper than digging from the ground by 2035. Then there is one question for the filthy rich investor who wants more money. Do I make less money by digging for oil? Or do I make more money by starting up a biofuel reactor? And one thing you can know about the rich people is that they'd like to be richer. That's just what it is. And if they are presented with a choice, two things they can choose in between. One is to make less money, and one is to make more money. They will default towards the more money. So instead of asking the rich to make less money and save the planet, we will ask them to make more money and save the planet. So you can understand why this changes things, not carbon capture and resequencing or any other manufacturing style improvement. This will change things. The final verdict is not in, is will this save the planet? But I wanted to put it out there. In closing, imagine a world where you have Star Trek level of technology. You can manufacture anything out of thin air with minimum amount of energy required, versus our modern world, versus a world where you can take energy from the atmosphere and turn that into petroleum. Just compare these three options side by side. We're approaching the Federation one. So yeah, that was that. Thank you.